Hello, my name is Silviu Medeșan and Diana Galoș. We are from Cluj, northwest of Romania, and we are very pleased to be here with you. And I would say that it's a bit maybe different. I don't know exactly how it's in Bucharest, but in Cluj we talked a bit last night. It's a bit different. The municipality is very open to, I don't know, fund our kind of projects, but also they take back something. So it's like an exchange, and sometimes we are not the ones who are winning, but anyway. It's also like a sort of battlefield, but not so big as in Bucharest, maybe. Let's see. So, me and Lala Panait, she's not here, she's in Athens. She's organizing a meeting of Mythos Festival. That's an association NGO from Berlin. And some of us were participants in Actors of Urban Change program, and some of the newest generation is here. And it's very interesting that we joined together, even though we didn't plan that. But anyways, so I'm an architect, and Lala, she is an anthropologist, and together we started in 2012 a European project called Landscape Choreography, and it involved five or something like that, 4 countries, and the initiators are from Milan and from Germany. So we started this project as an European 2 years funded project. We started not just the two of us, we also collaborated with the local architects. Diana Galoș is one of the most longevity collaborators with us, part of the team, and we somehow we want to present our project, but also relating to your topic of how university is involved in our work. Our project is called La Terenului. It's translated at the playgrounds because this Diana will present this.
I will make a short presentation of the project and of the context. So here it's the map of the city with black. It's represented the industrial area, and here it will be it is the city center, and in this part, in the southwest part of the city, is one of the most dense neighborhoods of Cluj, and here is where we started developing our project. So to say something about the area, I think it's very important to say that when we got there first, we were fascinated by the forest, which is nearby, and you can see some photos with the context of the forest. There are some blocks where. Yes, that's a very representative image. There are some urban gardens, some existing urban gardens, and the playgrounds. So the playgrounds are tennis. There was supposed to be some sports playgrounds, but they're like
abandoned, even from the construction, because it used to be. This part of the neighborhood, it used to be a building headquarters, construction building headquarters, organizare de chantier.
The organizing building site somehow.
So
when the neighborhood was built, here was
the organization of the building site.
Of the building site, yes, and the neighborhood was planned in the communist era, and planned and built, and at the playgrounds was supposed to be a park, but as the political context changed, it
was not finished.
It was not finished. Yes, that's. But now there is a very big platform, there are the playgrounds, and the very particular feature of the area are the urban gardens that popped up when the first inhabitants came to live in the neighborhood. So there are some very interesting uses of the space also. People are going there to walk their dogs or to sunbathe sometimes. They go and play with their children because there is a lot of free space there. And the forest is a very attracting item. So
because it's very near to the area. So on the map, the forest is here, starting here, and we are talking about La Terreno area as this part. So it's like a platform, and the gardens are here. And another important point is Cinema Dacia, which is here behind these blocks. This is the main street, and the link with the city center, this one. And this Cinema Dacia, it's a communist design cultural facility in the area. And since we are working as a NGO, cultural NGO, organizing also festivals in Paintbrush Factory in another neighborhood of the city of Cluj, we are working with culture to activate this place, and our objective is to put it on a municipality agenda as a green park inside this very dense neighborhood. The third part of the population is living here, so one street is the most dense street in Cluj. Okay, so we can see the Cinema Dacia as it was in the 80s. It was behind, now it's behind some blocks like here, so the blocks are here and you enter from here. The area changed a lot since the 80s. It was a lot of densification in 4 stages, and as Diana said, there are informal practices that are these gardens. And why? Because the people were brought from villages or small cities around Cluj to work in the factories back in the 70s. You can see here how Cinema Dacia is looking today. This is before the inauguration of the rehabilitation of the cinema. It was abandoned, and the municipality started to rehabilitate it to make it like a cultural center. You can see our first year intervention, so this is happening, all of this happened in 2013. So we made a garden, or like a community garden. These are the gardens, and our garden is here. We made a stage for cultural events, and we have this platform of meeting between the neighbors. We are mentioning a lot the gardens. These are the gardens, so you can see that the blocks that are here, they were in relation with some garages that are on the other side of the road, and the gardens are behind this. So this is just occupied space back in the 70s from the villagers that were living like now on the vertical, not on the horizontal. This is like a specific thing in Cluj, or maybe not just in Cluj, because the people from the same village, they wanted to stay with the neighbors from the village that they used to. So this is like vertical villages, we say. And another important feature of these things is that the apartment actually is linked with the garage through an illegal electricity cable, and the garage, in the back of the garage is the garden. So actually, like a diagram, you can see how and who owns the garden and the garages. So this is the diagram that's very catchy. For us, they're gardens and their way of working in the community, it was like a attracting point because we didn't know how they work. We just saw them, and it's a very nice picture to see a man working like in a village but in a city. So for us, these communal gardens that are here, so the blocks that you saw there, these blocks, and the wires were linked these garages, this line of garages, and the actual gardens are here. And they are interesting because it's a common space for the gardeners. They are fenced around and not each. So it's a remain of a space that is still perceived common. So for us, the project, it's interesting to somehow relate to their project. So we are in the 6th year now since the beginning of the project. So this diagram shows how we intervened in the space. We made the stage in the first year, the garden, and then we brought some containers for storage. We made a neighbors arena. We are saying that this is the parliament, and we also intervened in cultural events happening in Cinematacha because we wanted somehow to expand, not just in this area, but also in the neighborhood, and in the school also we worked. This is happening on the stage. A lot of people coming, the inhabitants, mostly the kids, were actors in this cultural event. I think you can see this picture is very specific for our project because first, the ones that are intervened are the most curious and enthusiastic about our activities are the children. They are on the stage, and then their friends, their maybe brothers and sisters, and very, very far, you can see this gap, their parents or maybe their neighbors and elderly people. So it's very interesting, this image it's not stage, so it happened. Maybe you can say something about our failures.
Yes. So when we started the project, so we organized a workshop when we built some chairs out of recycled tires and strings, and we thought it was a really great success because we had lots of people working on these objects, children, adults. Everybody was so happy that we had activities, and we were so proud that the tires were used at the event we had planned for the week. But we had a very big surprise one week after the event, when we came back at the playground, and we didn't find the tires anymore because the gardeners have come and they cut the strings and used it in the gardens to tie the beans. So it's actually what we want to emphasize is that we went there like with
our preconceived ideas of how
of our preconceived ideas of what the people need in the neighborhood, but actually they didn't really need some chairs or tires. They just needed some strings to use them in the garden.
Yeah, this guy. Like the strings are this, but it's not. It's just to show you that the strings needed are here, but it's not the guy who stole them. So yeah, and also we tried in the first year to make everything by the book. So we start with Maria Balabash, which is a soundscape artist or something like that in radio. So she made a soundscape mapping of the neighborhood, and this is one of the workshop. We also did this talking on the map thing. Like we were joking this morning, Diana, when we were doing this presentation. Imagine the painting of Rembrandt with an open man and a guy talking, like a doctor talking on. So for us, it was like this. We started with this by the book things, but they didn't really work, as Diana said. So in the end, we somehow adapted to the community way of living, or we started to learn their language. And for example, here we started to speak with the kids how they want to repair their playground, and also we talk with the adults what they need. And for example, here it's like a big satellite map, and these are the swings that the kids wanted to be rehabilitated. And we also made these images to show how we think of designing the area. And this model is not necessarily a plan for the area, but more of a pretext to start to speak with them about things that are around, or it's a problem in their neighborhood. And they also gave us feedback on our design. So and later we try to redesign the things that we were designing according to their feedback, somehow integrating their ideas. And this is one of the results that I'm talking about. So this is one place where you can sit and see your neighbor, because usually in these kind of neighborhoods the benches are decorated, or you stay back in back, so you don't. So in let's say in back in days, the designers of these neighborhoods, they didn't want for people to be really together, let's say. So we made this neighbors arena, we are saying. And it's used, this is like after post inauguration, and this is like a group of people that I think they are making a sermon outside. So there's a church here, and they got outside, and you can see that there are interesting places where people are somehow relating to each other. We were doing theater workshop with a teenager in the area. This is cultural events happening in the area with a more festive feature. We were doing with Studio Bazaar. They were doing, because this is like their design and their construction for architecture days in 2014, I think, yeah. Also, we have guests from Japan in this picture, trying to disrupt the routine of the neighborhood, and it was a madness with these guys. These are the containers and the garden, how it's looking 2 years after. We were cooking a lot, and because this brings people together, so this is like a classical thing to do. We were doing this network that I was speaking about, like as a urban change. So we had discussion about what we are doing. We were doing also smaller discussion on issues that were current 3 years ago, something like that. And we also are building, and this is the link with the university, but in our case in Cluj, it's an informal one. For example, the students that are building and designing and building this furniture that is temporary, they can have an internship to an architecture firm, but also they can have this practice if an architect is a Romanian architect is conducting the workshop or is somehow related. So this is the informal way how we succeed to relate with the university. So we don't have a formal agreement with the universities. The students are willingly to participate, and we are promoting not through school, but through student association, rather from student association. So they are very keen to participate in this kind of projects. And we must say that we are not the only ones who are doing this kind of wooden furniture that may be vandalized and so on, but there's a lot of things happening on the river and also in another park.
Yes, I would also like to say that even though it's not a formal relation with the university, I think that for the students it's very important to be involved in such projects because they get to learn a lot of things, things that nobody teaches them in school. So they get to interact with the community and do things by themselves. And I think that this kind of practice should be encouraged and
in the university.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Thank you.
So we were doing this kind of weird furniture according to the design. We are having also architects invited that are contributing. And this furniture, for example, are linking these two spots, Cinema Dacia and our initial area. And we work on this relation in the last 2 years. They are weird, they can be chairs, but they also can be tables, so this is the trick. And somehow they are disrupting the daily routine of the neighborhood and start discussions. So this is another way of doing working in the neighborhood. This is the last project that we did. These are the sociologist students also. In the same way we interact with them. We have connections, like Richard maybe said, with specific people in the university and not in a very formal way. And people who are interested in our project, professors or lecturers or whatever in sociology, or architects like me who are also somehow related to the school but also have a practice that is doing this. This is spring we made with them. They are all sociology students. They did a massive work, 1,100 questionnaires in the area, in the spots very near to our area where we, what I'm talking about, the area, what I'm talking now, like next to Cinema Dacias, and we have like the results, but they are so big that we have to still work on them. There is the main event is the Days of the Neighborhood, and this is a discussion about what the people, the preliminary discussion on what the people answer to the questionnaires. This is based on their answer. We try to activate this link between Dacia and La Terenu area. This is one graffiti made together with the kids from the area. And this is another project with our students in architecture that did a bridge which is linking two parts of the neighborhood that it was specifically discovered in this question that this link is missing. So we were working with students in sociology, architects, neighbors from the area interested in our proposal and the proposal of their neighbors, of course. And we did this bridge somehow linking the two transversally. So we did this link with the mobile furniture, like longitudinal, and transversal we did this bridge. So somehow I'm presuming what we did. So we did this link with the mobile furniture and with the bridge. Last project we did this link. So yeah, now we are somehow 6 years. We're somehow finishing more or less the project because of two reasons. Here, where the gardens are, some investors start to build. There is a project, and we were protesting against this this summer. They want to build 2 blocks higher than these ones, so it's a bit tricky because it's already a dense neighborhood. And on the other way, the municipality started not a contest, but a bid for urban plan, master plan goals. master plan in this area, and some of our ideas were incorporated in their strategy, yeah, in the tender. In the tender, yeah. So somehow we are starting to think of. They want to make a park, so it's for a park, a sports park here. So somehow our role in the neighborhood is more or less.
May I ask about the ownership on the land?
Yeah.
The situation of ownership?
Yeah, it changed throughout the years. So at the beginning was many revendication. I don't know how to say that.
Retrocession requests?
Yeah, and some parts of the. So we are speaking about this area. Some parts of this green area. These were private, but also a part of it was no. So this is private, yeah. A part like this was also private, and the rest was not very certain because we didn't have access to all the documents. And now the municipality somehow sorted out to have this area somehow public. So for this area, they are doing this a bit. Yeah. So this the last
And
news.
the two buildings which take a part of the gardens.
This one.
The gardens were on private land before.
Yeah, this is an occupation occupied from the 70s, but with the accord from the owners. Yeah. So the guys from these plots had
An agreement.
Yeah, but informal.
Mm.
Yeah. So when they sell together a part of the land, the gardeners, they will have nothing to say. They will be kicked out. But they will leave. They will not be kicked out because they know that this moment will come. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.